So let's continue. So you're getting to the end of your first 30 seconds. You're plucking your glycogen stores. You're getting to the end of your second set of 30 seconds high intensity. Your glycogen stores are being depleted, but we need more fuel. And so what the body does now, it causes a release of the human growth hormone. The human growth hormone is very active when we're growing. But when we stop growing, I stopped growing at 16, that probably doesn't surprise you. My son William grew 2 inches from 19 to 22. Boys usually grow a bit longer. It goes into retirement. But when you do the high intensity exercise, it's pulled out of retirement. Let me show you what it does. What the human growth hormone does is it causes a release of hormone-sensitive lipase. Hormone-sensitive lipase is an enzyme that breaks down fat cells. Yesterday we looked at sublingual lipase. Remember that enzyme that breaks down the short chain and medium chain fatty acids in the saturated fats? We looked at pancreatic lipase that breaks down the long chain fatty acids. We're looking at another lipase now, and that is hormone-sensitive lipase that's released to break down your fuel stores. Isn't that what fat is? It's the most amazing fuel depot in the human body. But how many people are carrying a lot of weight? They're actually starving in the land of plenty. They can't access their fuel supplies. They're always tired. How do we access it? This is how we access it, causing a release of the human growth hormone. So hormone-sensitive lipase is activated, and hormone-sensitive lipase, as it is activated, it switches over to burning fat. It becomes a fat burner. So one of the reasons why when the human growth hormone's released, the body starts burning fat as fuel is because of something we looked at yesterday. Remember glucose? Glucose burns in the body at 4 calories per gram. Remember fat? Fat burns in the body as 9 calories per gram. Now you'll find that information in every weight loss book in psychedelic colours as to the reason why if you want to lose weight you shouldn't eat fat. But they don't understand what a calorie is. You know what a calorie is? It's a unit of energy. So if you want a high energy food, what do you eat? Fat. You see, it's a misconception. No wonder the body starts burning fat as fuel, because fat's going to give more than twice the units of energy that glucose will give. Because this person's running for their life. We need a potent fuel here. The human growth hormone also increases the body's ability to process protein. We've looked at the importance of protein this week, the importance of eating sufficient protein. We've looked at the importance of not drinking with the meals, or we'll water down our hydrochloric acid, and then it won't be able to break down our protein effectively. And now we're looking at another aspect. The high intensity interval training causes a release of the human growth hormone, which increases the body's ability to utilize protein. The human growth hormone also increases the circulation of the blood to the skin. Now the effect of this is it slows down aging. No wonder the movie stars pay $1,000 a week for this human growth hormone, because their profession is dependent on them looking good, and you can see this helps you look good. Well, I'm offering it to you cut price today. 15 minutes high intensity interval training a day will cause a release of that human growth hormone, and that human growth hormone will remain active for 24 hours. People ask me, how often do you exercise? I say daily. Daily. Daily, because I want that human growth hormone. So when people say, Barbara, what do you put on your skin? What's your moisturizer? I say, nothing. Nothing. What I do, I spend my money on good quality nuts and seeds and avocados and olive oils, your lovely cold pressed. And I exercise every morning. How could I miss out on my daily human growth hormone? So if it's a gale outside, if it's snowing outside, then I go to the rebounder. I do my push-ups. Do you do push-ups, ladies? I do my stretches, and I know the twins have shown you some amazing stretches. They're very good on those stretches. I hurt my back the other day, lifted something too heavy, and so Erin got up on the table. She's up on the table and she's pulling my legs this way and that way. Whoa. She said, am I doing too hard? I said, I'm sorry, but I'll never say you're doing it too hard. I'll just breathe. 1, 2. So stretches are great. So no matter what the weather, move that body every day. Get it into a movement, because you will reap the benefits all through the day when you do that little nugget every single morning. I had a couple do our program. She was, young couple, she was 79, he was 82. And they swim for 2 kilometres in the sea at Coffs Harbour, which is a coastal town in Australia. And it's about the same temperature as this. They don't get snow. We only get snow way down the bottom and even only on the mountaintops. So they swim for 2 kilometres every morning. I said, no wonder you guys look good. They hardly had a line on their face. They were little, obviously, you can have a few lines, but I was amazed at their skin. They were with us for 2 weeks. When they first came, they stopped the cholesterol-lowering meds, they stopped the blood thinner because they were drinking more water. Midweek, they decided to stop their blood pressure med as well, and because their blood sugars were coming right down, stopped that medication. I tell you, the second week, they just came alive. They went home younger than they came. But I'd like to show you one of the most powerful, well, it is acknowledged to be the most powerful form of exercise there is. And everyone can do this one, and it's called rebounding. Now, why is the rebounder, or the little mini trampoline, such a powerful form of exercise? Strength comes from one activity and one activity alone, and that is defying gravity. Isn't that what you're doing on the push-ups? You're defying gravity. Have a look at a baby. I've had 6 babies. And I know within a couple of days, what are they trying to do? Put their heads up. They're trying to put their head up. In fact, you have to be careful because they put their head up and then they might bang it on your collarbone. And then it's not long when you put them on the floor, they start to roll. Then they start to get up on their hands and knees. And then it's not long after that, they're trying to pull themselves up. They're constantly defying gravity, aren't they? It is gravity that causes strength. And then you put them in the little cot and they start jumping, jumping in the cot. I've come to the conclusion that people age because they stop jumping. What's the old saying? We should jump for joy. So why is the rebounder so powerful? Well, three forces come together with the rebounding, because I always want to know why. 3 forces come together. One force is defying gravity. So defying gravity is one of the forces. There's another force that comes to play, and that is acceleration. So when you're leaping off the mat up into the air, you're accelerating. And then just as you get to the top of your jump, you experience deceleration. So acceleration and deceleration. You know acceleration when you're in the plane. I think my favourite time in the plane is when they take off. We go so fast and watch that land go away from you. So there's your acceleration. Deceleration is when you've landed and they put the brakes on and you're flattened against the seat. Einstein says that these 3 forces have the same effect on the body. There is not a cell in the body that is not affected by these three forces, and that's what makes it such a powerful form of exercise, because constantly as you're jumping like this, the cells they're being challenged, but challenging the cells strengthens the cells. So let me show you what the rebounder also does. Here's your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is your body's vacuum cleaner. And your lymphatic system has little gates like this all along. Now your blood capillary system looks very similar, but it doesn't have those little gates. And your blood capillary system has muscles either side of it. So when your heart pumps, pumping the blood along the capillaries, those muscles are affected, and the pumping happens all the way through the system. We can feel a pulse, can't we? We can feel a pulse in our groin, we can feel a pulse in our... And it's all affected because of the heart. The heart is the pump, and it pumps the blood through the body. Did you know you have a second heart? It's your calf muscle. Do you ever wonder how the blood gets back to the heart? You see, your arterial system is the blood coming away from the heart, and your venous system is the blood coming back to the heart. It is your calf muscles. And I think you'll agree with me, when you've been on the rebounder, those calf muscles, they're constantly working, so your second heart is getting those blood back. That's why rebounding is so effective for varicose veins. You don't get varicose arteries, do you? You get varicose veins. It's that venous system that's affected. And that's why in the plane they tell you to move your foot, don't you? Because when you move your foot, you're moving your calf muscle. And that pump and that heart muscle, they're causing this muscular system around the capillary network to keep moving that blood, because the blood is the life of the flesh. But not so your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system does not have a muscular system around it, and your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. And your lymphatic system sweeps away waste from the tissues. Remember, it's the body's vacuum cleaner, and it dumps the waste into the lymph nodes in our neck, in our armpits, in our groin. There are lymphocytes, which is a white blood cell that can deal with the waste, dump it into the blood, and then we sweat out the waste, we urinate out the waste, out our colon comes the waste. That's how the whole process happens. When you wake up in the morning, these little gates are all closed, which means the waste can't get out. Just getting out of bed, moving your arms and legs opens them a little bit. But the activity that opens every single gate in the whole body is the rebounder. So when you're on the rebounder, and let me get on the rebounder and show you. So if you're not used to it, you can just go like that. That's called the health bounce. But as you get better at it, I'm not going to jump really, really high, but you get better at it. You get kids, have you seen what kids will do on this? You know, at first, kids are a little bit out of balance, and you might be a little bit out of balance, but the more you do it, the better your balance will be. You can also start by this, just going like that. But this little one's called the health bounce. But when you start jumping, when you're to the height of your jump, every gate opens. And when you hit the mat again, every gate closes. Isn't that incredible? You only have to rebound for 1 minute in the morning to get that lymphatic system activated for the whole day. And once that lymphatic system is activated, every movement you make, just scratching your head, turning around, it's keeping the movement going. So this, again, is called the health bounce. If you can't do this, you're a little unstable, just find a post to hold on to, or you can get I think there's another rebounder downstairs that has a frame, and you can hold on to that frame. I like not to, because I don't want to become dependent on the frame, but if it's too hard for you, by all means, start with the frame. See, even doing this health bounce, I can feel my second heart, my calf muscles strengthening. Some people say, I'm not going to get on the rebounder because I'm out of balance. Well, guess how you get into balance? By rebounding. If you're not used to this, at first you might be a little unstable, but the more you do it, you will notice you will get your balance. Your balance is set by the bottom of your feet and by the fine mechanisms in your ear. And so rebounding resets those fine mechanisms in your ear and resets the soles of your feet. Jeffrey's given me permission just to put my shoes on the mat just while I'm giving this lecture, but you're best on bare feet and your feet spray out like that. But also it strengthens your arch because when you're bouncing on your toes. There's not a part in the body that is not affected by rebounding. And these three forces that come together and the effect that it has on the lymphatic system puts it in the class of the most powerful form of exercise there is. And you might say, well, Barbara, most of your work is being done with your legs. What about your upper body? It's all affected, but let me show you how you can strengthen your biceps. So you jump with your palms down. As you jump, that strengthens the bicep muscle. Yes, you can do your triceps too, and that's where you put your palm up and you jump with your palm up, and that strengthens your tricep muscles. And often I will twist as I do it, so I twist like this, and that helps with the spine. And so when my arms get tired out there, then I will do that. But I'll often do 10 biceps, 10 triceps. You can also strengthen your eyesight. How do you strengthen your eyesight? Now, I'm not doing much and I'm fairly fit, but can you see in my breath? So it doesn't seem like you're hardly doing anything, but it has a powerful effect on the body. So how do you strengthen your eyesight? So you can also just do this. Anyone can do that, where you're not even jumping, but you're having an effect. How do you strengthen your eyesight? So right now, looking out that door there, I will focus on that tree. I'll focus my eyes on the leaves of the tree. And so when I'm doing it, the tree is standing still, but the big trees in the background are jumping, and that lamp's jumping, and that lamp's jumping. So what I'll do now, after 10 jumps, I'll focus on that lamp, and I'll keep that lamp still, and the leaves that were still before are now jumping in the peripheral. Can you see what you do? You keep changing your focus, and that strengthens your eyesight. Now, I wear glasses early morning for fine reading. Since I've been doing the changing of the focus, my eyesight has improved. I was just about to go to 250 magnification, but I'm finding that with the changing of the focus on the rebounding, I've been able to keep it just the 2. So it can strengthen your eyesight. The best rebounder is the Bellican. And I think that's how it's spelt, something like that. And you'll notice with the Bellican that we have here, it's not springs, it's rubber. I call this the Rolls Royce because you get a beautiful bounce. You see, with the rebounder, there's no jarring. One lady said, well, can't I just skip? When you skip, every jump that you take, you do get a jarring effect on hips and knees and ankles. That's why if you do run and if you do skip, it must be on the earth, because the earth gives. Cement and tar do not. That's where you get really bad jarring. And notice how children run. Have you noticed how children run? They always run on the ball of their feet. I read a book called Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. He's a runner and he was getting lower back, pelvic and hamstring problems. So he took 6 months off work and decided to investigate worldwide different runners. He wanted to know why he was suffering with hamstring and lower back. And you'll notice that most joggers are padded to encourage heel striking. Have you noticed that? And yet we should be toe striking. So he went to the history books and he found in 1960 and 1964, Bibi Bikila, an African runner, took home gold, both sets of Olympic Games, and he was a barefoot runner. He also investigated other barefoot runners. You run barefoot on the grass, you will never strike with your heel. And what Christopher McDougall does, he goes into the anatomy of the foot, which is very interesting. You see, the foot's been designed to strike on the toe. When you strike on the toe, it strengthens the arch and the ball of the foot has a cushioning effect and the toes spread out to sort of take the fall. But when you strike with your heel, none of that happens. And he discovered that it is heel striking that's causing the hamstring, the pelvic and the lower back problems. Isn't that interesting? And out of that book came the barefoot runner craze. And the barefoot runner is basically runners that have a really thin sole. So I have my barefoot runners here. So I'll show you. When I buy, sorry, I've been running in the dirt this morning. When I buy a runner, I always go like that in the shop. That's what I want. And that barefoot runner allows me to run on my toes. When I started to do the, sorry, bit of dirt from my shoes. When I started to do the barefoot running and got my thin sole, it's no fun if there are big rocks on the road, so I go for the smooth bits and I also grass as much as possible. My muscles in my legs got really sore. And I thought, this is really strange. Why are my legs sore when I usually exercise every day? And that's when I realized when you toe strike, you use a totally different set of muscles to when you heel strike. Of course, those muscles adapted, and that's the amazing thing about the body, is its ability to adapt and adjust. We want it to adapt and adjust to the good things. Unfortunately, many have adjusted to the bad things. So if you do run, make sure it's toe striking. And your high intensity, it's actually whatever works for you. But the rebounding, again, is, I think every home should have one of the rebounders. You can put it on its side and you can put it behind the lounge, and if the kids come, you know where all the kids will be is on the rebounding. If you go to Bellicon, their website, you'll see classes where they will show you in a lot more detail than I have. I've just basically touched on it. I just wanted to show you why it is such a powerful form of exercise. And you'll see a whole lot of different moves and things that you can do. But the current figures are saying that 3 minutes 3 times a day is enough. Now that's hardly anything. So how can you put it into there? You can certainly do your 30 seconds high intensity. You saw I didn't seem to hardly do anything, and yet I'm sure you could see that my breath was starting to be catched or caught. Jogging on the rebounder. So I'm just going to move over to the rebounder again and just give you a tiny little illustration of this. You can, now if you do that on the rebounder, jogging on the rebounder, well, you'll definitely get your high intensity. But just leaping high on the rebounder might take a little bit longer to get your heart rate and your breathing up, but you certainly will get that. Dr. Al Sears, in his book Pace, he gives a story of a lady who did 7 seconds high intensity and she needs 15 minutes to recover. Whoa. Not many people are that unfit. You know what the good news is? That's why P means progressive. If she does that every day, she'll get to 8 seconds and then 12 minutes recovery. Can you see what will happen? That's why it's a good idea to note your recovery time, because as you get fitter, your recovery time will be less and less and less. And that can be of a great encouragement to you. The busier my schedule, the busier my program, the more steps I take to get to bed early so that I can get up and do that high intensity, because I know my day, my performance, my ability to remember, to present, and advice that people are asking me for, that's dependent on me going to bed early, getting up very early and asking for God's wisdom through the day, drinking water, doing that high intensity. You're just about ready for anything. How many people go into the day totally unprepared? No wonder the wheel falls off the wagon the first time a little bit of stress comes the way. I maintain that in a well-slept, well-nourished, well-hydrated, well-exercised body, a body that has been surrendered to the great God of heaven, that body copes with stress. Because it comes, doesn't it? It comes every day. But how many people are unprepared? And then the wheel falls off the wagon. And there's often a lot of mopping up to do with that. I know as a mother with so many children, it was imperative that I take those steps so that I was a calmer mother and I had wisdom for each child, because you do get challenged. Whether you're in the home or whether you're in the workforce, you do. So it's important to prepare for your day. So we have to prepare for tomorrow today. We prepare by having breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, tea or supper you call it like a pauper. Then we can go to bed early, and then you can get up early and do what I just explained, what must be done to prepare for the day. Who would go to battle without any armour on? Is the day a battle? Well, I think we'll all agree that, challenges come through the day. So it's important to be prepared. We're going to have a break now, and after the break we're going to come back and look at the importance of salt and water.